Hey everybody, I am still riding the Zero FX that I've got on loan from English Electric. They lent me this to do some videos and a review on. This is actually probably my last ride before I film my review tomorrow. And then I only have a day or two left and I'll have to go back, and I'm going to be quite sad about that because I've been loving riding this thing. Anyway, talking of electric bikes, what have electric bikes and old shoes got in common? Neither of them have got a soul. I'm joking, it's a terrible joke. But motorcycles, do they have souls? And if so, do those souls run on petrol? Okay, so let me just explain. Linus Tech Tips made a video the other day talking about electric motorcycles and his experience with them. Because he rides a bike as an SV650, and he said he considered buying a Zero. He'd actually gone into the dealership to buy one and then took it for a short test ride and basically said, oh, it felt soulless to me. And I left a comment on this that just basically said, I think you should probably give it a little bit more time, but it's totally true. It depends on the type of road you're using the bike on as to whether it would feel good or not. If you're just going in a straight line, okay, I can get how the sudden comparison of, no engine noise and anything like that can make it feel soulless. Don't worry, this isn't just about electrics. I'm explaining how we got to this. This comment of mine's got quite a lot of likes and quite a few replies, and someone said in the replies, like, I don't drive or have a bike or something, but what do you mean by having a soul? And I was thinking, okay, that's a good question, really. What do people mean by a motorcycle having a soul? Do they think that it is a spiritual being in the sense of, the religious sides would believe that humans have souls, our inner energy, as it were, that is the true us, inside the husk, which is the body. That is the idea of a soul, right? I think that's probably about right. Can a motorcycle have a soul? In that context, most people would probably say no. And I'd say to them, well, can ants have souls? Because it seems like humans have the monopoly on souls. But anyway, so what do we mean by that? Well, by having a soul, I guess they mean having a character. Do you build a relationship with a bike? Do you feel like, it's speaking back to you? Now, if you've never ridden a bike, you might be like, what the hell are you talking about? I have never used my kettle and felt like it's going, yes, let's make that tea together. Let's go on, heat it right up. I can understand that. Also, for some reason, I think this kettle was in a small flat in the 70s, and someone's just come around to do the plumbing. So I think what we mean by a machine, a bike, having a soul is, as I say, you have a relationship. It's like Derek. Derek and I, we didn't really have that sort of a relationship to start with, it was I just loved the bike and it was great, but then the more it went wrong and the more I worked on it, the more it now kind of feels like I have a relationship with that bike. When things stop working on it, it feels like it's speaking to me. You haven't ridden me for a while, I hate you, now this is broken. Oh, you fixed the problem? Guess what? Wrong problem. Well, that's kind of like the long-term unhappy marriage relationship with a bike that you get. The soul part is more the way that it talks to you as you ride. Some bikes, for instance, the easiest way to explain this is that some bikes like 600cc inline fours, they scream as you rev them, and it sounds better and better and better, and the bike just seems happier and more free for flowing and just doing what it's supposed to do as it screams its way through each gear. So by riding that sort of bike, you might feel like the bike's trying to make you go faster. Other types of bikes, like supermotos, to me, and to most people that ride them, it brings out the child in you. It's like you're on a BMX again, and you're just, you're just jumping over anything. Oh, can I go through there? Can I go down there? Like, you see a big cliff thing, can I ride it down there? Can I do this? Can I do that? And because it's light and it's agile, and it just, well, the expression hooligan does come into it, because people can be pretty antisocial and pretty silly with their riding with supermotos at times. Time and place and all of that. But still, just the lariness of the thing, it's something about riding them that just brings fun into it, but also mischievousness. And that is my experience of supermotos. They don't make you want to go fast, because they just can't. They run out of, they have lots and lots of balls, but not much to back it up. But obviously now we have to just be honest about this. That interpretation of a bike having a soul is an entirely human-made thing that's been applied to it. I feel that way about my bike, maybe because I'm predisposed to feel like that's what I should do. I mean, okay, the engine noise and that with like, a 600, that totally makes sense, because you can, it's an audio response. But when you're just going in a straight line now on this electric versus the petrol, people would say this would be soulless because there's no talking back to you. There's no response, there's no noise, there's no sense of occasion, there's no look at me. Although this is the most look at me bike that you'll ever see, but you won't hear. Well, you will hear actually. As a subscriber said to me a little while ago, he heard me going past the FXE and was like, Jesus Christ, I had no idea that electrics were that loud, because I'd obviously got on it a little bit, and he said I could hear it from a long way away. It was mad. That's the thing, I never get to see that, or hear that, should we say, because I'm always the one on it. Also, as I've previously said, and it kind of goes into what I was saying about Derek earlier on, character can also be things that aren't good with a bike. If a bike is very, very, very good at its job, it can be clinical. Just straight down the line does the job, but just doesn't really speak back to you much. Yet bikes with faults seem to have a character, and I've always said that the character of a bike is in its faults. So if you have a perfect machine for doing a job, it will have no character, in my eye. But now we have to be honest and say, right, well, all these anthropomorphized, I think that's the right word here, feelings and emotions that we've applied to these bikes and think we're getting back from it's completely in our heads. And it has an entirely different meaning to each individual person with each individual bike, and whether it's electric or petrol is completely irrelevant to that. Yes, of course, without the vibrations, without the noise, the bike isn't talking to you. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. It's just there like a numb seat just rolling along. But in my experience, I'd say this. Right now, in this sort of conditions, this slow riding around, I don't care if the bike's not making a load of noise. I don't necessarily want people to look at me. I'm just getting A to B. I'm enjoying the ride. I'm enjoying the experience beyond the bike. But the more that I rode this bike, the more I started to feel like it was talking back to me. The whizzy noises. It wants to make the whizzy noises. We both want it to make the whizzy noises. It sounds great. It's not quite as amazing sounding as the Energica Eva Rebelli RS, which is that electric motorcycle with straight cut gears that sounds like a cross between a pod racer and a supercharger. It's nuts. It's amazing, it sounds great. This isn't quite that, and at slow speeds now, as you can tell because of my sound suppressing mic, it's quite quiet. There is a bit of a hum most of the time, and if you're actually really, really slow like this, the bike actually has a speaker on it and it goes the whole time. It just sounds like your brake pads are rubbing, if I'm completely honest, and I don't know who the hell would hear that, but hey, it's there. I mean, it would probably be better if I had a little speaker on it. It was just going, watch out dingus, mind your puxel. I don't know why I'm making that reference, but it seems to fit. See, as I say, the whizziness talks to you, it wants to do that, the lariness of it makes you just have fun with it, and you just want to try doing silly things like riding through sand. It's a shame the Devil's Punch Bowl where all the sand is so far away, because this bike would be great fun there, but I never get to it. So the whole thing of do electric motorcycles have souls, I don't think is even a thing. I think it depends on you and the bike. Yes, you're possibly more likely, or probably more likely, to feel like you can't build a relationship with it at first, because it's giving you so little back. At first, you're not used to it. Like, it's being subtle, it's giving you body language maybe. Little hints. It's not just... So many things that would have got my channel demonetized came into my head. Let's just say it's not offering itself on a plate to you. It's just an interesting subject to think about, because I think, people are similar in a lot of ways, and what maybe switches for you on a motorcycle may not be what you think it is. You may be thinking it's the one thing, but it may be another thing entirely. But it's interesting, by riding lots and lots of different machines, and removing different variables, by different types of bikes with and without certain features, I've come to realise that it's just basically about how much fun you have on the bike. Does it suit your style? Does it do what you do? Oh, there, but then again, I'm not really a cruiser person as such, but I did absolutely love riding the Triumph Rocket. It was very eventful. I wouldn't want to have it for a long time, but I loved riding it. I'm a bit of a slut when it comes to bikes. I think I just enjoy everything I can get my hands on. And for me, that feels like a win, because it means it doesn't matter if I'm on a $2,000 Chinese 125 or an electric scooter or a 10 grand Suzuki 1000cc or a £35,000 electric superbike. I can have as much fun with any of them. As you can tell, I've pondered over all of this a lot, and whenever I have loan bikes, sure, I make videos on them, but I also ride them a lot just to experience them, to spend time on them in my own head, in my own time, riding freely and just seeing how I get along with them. And I do often find myself thinking about the sort of philosophical side of motorcycles, because it actually does answer questions as to, what's good and bad in a motorcycle, what people will and won't want. Of course, as I say, this is entirely opinion-based. This is just my opinion. I'm not saying that anyone else is wrong, because we all experience bikes in a unique perspective. So what I ask is, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And in the comments, leave your perspective on this. Have you ever considered what makes a bike have a soul, or what bike talked to you the most? I'm sure it's good, if you think back through your bike history, the one that really sticks to you is the one that used to go wrong all the time, but you still loved. For some people, it's your first bike, and you can have an absolute, first bike love, because this thing is your portal to freedom. And the idea of it getting hurt or damaged is horrible, because you think it can never be replaced. But it can. It can always be replaced. If you have a crash on your pride and joy, it sucks, but you can get it replaced. You can move on. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now. Leave those comments below. As I say, smash that like button. And if you want to help support this channel, please consider doing that through Patreon. Oh, also, we finally have the 100,000 subscriber t-shirts that were delayed. Yeah, they're available, links in the description. If you grab one of those, thank you very much for supporting my channel by doing so and helping me celebrate hitting that milestone after all this time.